why Delta was such a focal point, and why it was the only place that had a road into it. Now, that led to other things, because people often ask, why does the only stone grist mill in Canada, was designated a National Historic Site, be situated in Delta? What's special about it? So now you find out what's really special about this grist mill. It was built at such an early time when, and we'll go back to 1795. In 1795, Delta was the only inland settlement, had 4 whole houses. But at 1795 in the United States, a young man named Oliver Evans, a millwright, wrote a book, and he said that he had designed a mill that where no manual labor was required from when the grain came to the mill until the finished product went out. Hey, no manual labor? This makes you stop and think. So, this makes you stop and think about it. I'm sure Mrs. Evans thought that her son was either very far ahead of his time or else there was something wrong with his thinking. But meanwhile, in Canada, a man named William Jones read the book. And William Jones had great hopes for Canada. He was another far-seeing person that had a vision that this country would grow. So he was going to make sure that it did grow, and he deliberately set out to build a mill following these wonderful, wonderful principles. First of all, the architecture had to be strong and sturdy, so you had the gorgeous Georgian architecture. You'll hear about that upstairs. But now let's get back to Oliver Evans. The mill itself was the deck. It had an indoor water wheel because you remember that it gets pretty cold here in the winter, and you might want to use really gray ground most of the year round. The indoor water wheel was connected to a shaft that went right up to the top of the mill. The shaft was connected to every machine in the mill. Most of them Oliver Evans inventions, or ideas that were invented by Oliver Evans. Therefore, when the wheel started turning, everything in the mill started at once with a crash and a bang and a clatter and a go for it. Off at the side of the mill, the first item in the mill, was what Oliver Evans called an elevator. And that was one of his first inventions. We'd call it a conveyor belt. It's simply a little belt made of leather, or later made of canvas, with an upside-down iron cup on it. As the upside-down cup went around the wheel and up the other side, it naturally scooped up the grain. And when it went around the next top pulley, it dumped the grain. So here all your machines are running, the grain is dumped in here, it goes up to the top of the mill, it's dumped in a cleaner, it falls to a hopper, which feeds it to the mill stones, and then it's hot from the friction. It goes right up to the top of the mill again. It is dumped in a hopper boy or a raking boy. So called because a young boy would stand there and rake it in other mills until it was cool. When it was spun around to its cool, it fell to the bolter, and you'll notice the bolter is in sections. The first section had fine bolting silk into this bin. The next section was your middlings that fell to its own bin, then the shorts, then the bran, and they each fell down their own chute into their own bag or barrel or bin at the bottom. And presto, no manual labor whatsoever involved. It worked. So William Jones went down in history for building this marvelous mill and for using Oliver Evans' ideas.